with a few of our closest friends, and of course with the world-famous Willie McGinest, three-time Super Bowl champion. James Jones wearing his Super Bowl ring from 2010 and some other bling. Yes. And David Carr, he's got a Super Bowl ring also from 2011. The next year I'm Lindsay Rhodes. I've been to the Super Bowl, so that's my contribution to this team. And soon Patrick Mahomes will be able to say the same thing. The Chiefs quarterback preparing for his first action in the big game with another practice today at the Dolphins facility in Shells with full participation and an emphasis on goal line, short yardage, and nickel. Just 3 days out from the big game.
There's a little bit of nerves whenever you're playing any game, but for me, I'm enjoying it. The best thing about this team is that we have fun, no matter what the stage is, no matter where we're playing. And I think having that mentality is let us play loose, let us go out there and just be who we are. And I'm just going to treat it like any other game week and get there and try to just go out there and have fun.
I would say the biggest challenge is going out there and playing football, man. It's that's a great team over there. You know, you can talk all you want about the distractions, but at the end of the day, the ball's going to be snapped and you got to make plays. And it's a great defense over there. And you know what? We're gonna have our work cut out for us, and it's going to be a grind.
For me, it'll be very humbling to be a Super Bowl champion. You know, I think that's everything you work for in the off season to be in that position. So I think that's my goal, to try to go out here, you know, help my team win a game. But remain humble.
And that, folks, is the last we're going to hear from the Chiefs this week. Today's media availability, the last of the week for them. James Palmer, did you get the sense that they're going to miss you?
No, I did not get that sense at all.
I know Tyreek Hill has had a good time talking to you this week. What are some of the things that he's told you about his preparation for the game?
Yeah, keep an eye on this, Lindsay. Tyreek Hill told me this morning that he wants to get in the zone. He's a big basketball guy, and he said, when I get in this zone, certain plays have to happen early on. It happened to be in the AFC Championship game, but it's a zone where I feel like nobody can guard me. Nobody can touch me. Nobody can stay with me. He said that's when I transform into mini Hulk. And I asked him, when this happens, do you have to tell Patrick Mahomes that you're in this zone? He said, no, Pat can see it in my eyes. He said, usually I'm a playful guy, but I have a different demeanor when I get into this zone. And so when I talked to wide receiver coach Greg Lewis, he said when this happens, Tyreek oozes it down through the rest of the receiving core, and it spreads through the rest of these guys. So obviously, Lindsay, the Chiefs would like this to happen on Super Bowl Sunday because of the confidence that Tyreek Hill has. What Lewis told me is he went out, he told everybody, nobody can stick with me man to man, and he went out and he proved it, and he wants to prove it again on Sunday.
He's confident and for good reason. And by the way, James Palmer, these guys really liked the mini Hulk line there.
There we go.
JJ also likes the confidence.
Absolutely. Listen, Charles Woodson always told us, believe what you see on film. And if they are saying this team is bad, watch the film. Are they that bad? Believe what you see on film, because they're probably not that bad. And then if they're dominant and everybody's talking about them, they might not be that dominant to you once you watch the film. When I listen to Tyreek Hill talk all week, he's watching film and it's letting me know that he's confident that this 49ers defense cannot stop them or him. You just hear it coming out of his mouth. You hear his body. You see his body language. He but truly believes that they cannot stop him. And that confidence becomes by watching film and understanding what they do and what the Niners do and how it's going to be tough for the Niners to stop them. And that confidence is contagious. We've seen them in the playoffs. They've came back twice by double-digit points and came back to win the game dominant. That gives you confidence. And listening to him talk, he's watching this film saying, they in trouble.
You say that like you know that, like you've been there before.
Absolutely, I have been there. When we played the Steelers in 2010, all they talked about is how is Troy Polamalu and this defense going to slow down the Green Bay Packers pass attack. And Troy Polamalu is the key guy that they want to stay away from, or the key guy to stop them. And we're sitting in our meeting rooms like, we are going after the soon-to-be Hall of Famer Troy Polamalu because he can't run with anybody we have right now later in his career, and that's who we want to attack. And that was our game plan. But from the outside looking in, it's like, stay away from Troy. But we believed what we see on film, and we're like, that is where we're going with the football.
Well, the Chiefs obviously are coming into this game coming off of some of their best offensive games of the year. Mahomes killing it in the postseason, but it was kind of a quiet year for him, relatively speaking. He was somebody that wasn't in the MVP conversation, and he'd fallen out kind of even before the knee injury. So I'm curious to know what you've seen from him this year, and maybe in the last couple of weeks, anything different?
Well, I think there's a reason that Tyreek Hill has so much confidence. I think it comes from his quarterback. His play caller, obviously, Andy Reid, is fantastic, but his quarterback instills that confidence because he gives them shots down the field. He gives them opportunities down the field to make huge plays, and it's outside the X's and O's. It goes beyond what Andy Reid has constantly done throughout his career. This is stuff that's not in rhythm and timing. He drops back, and he feels that there's not really any pressure. He already started moving. At 3.5 seconds, he's still looking up the field to make a big play. Launches the ball down the middle, perfect throw. Fantastic route and speed, but he trusted his guy was going to eventually run through the coverage. He trusted the protection. Same thing again. That's a 5-step drop. Most guys step up, look for a place to throw the football, maybe to the outside, check down. No, I'm going to step up, move, slide. It's now 6 seconds. Tyreek Hill, you can't cover Tyreek Hill for 10 seconds. It's impossible. Then you go in an empty set, and a lot of guys would take this short throw underneath to the left side for 5 yards. Not Patrick. He's going to whirly bird out of there, spin around. Maybe he'll throw it away. Maybe he'll run out of bounds. No, he's going to throw a touchdown pass, even though you had it covered. So that's the difficult part. You can sit up there if you're Robert Saleh and have everything dialed up on the whiteboard.
Yes,
go to the meetings, go to practice and say, this is how we're going to stop this route concept. But then what are you going to do with that? When you got 6 seconds of trying to hang on for your life, knowing Tyreek Hill and Hartman and all these guys are running around, and he can make a throw at any point on the field, any direction, falling backwards, 30-yard ends. It's just crazy to watch as a quarterback.
This quarterback has the highest passer rating ever in the postseason. He's done it this year, though, against the 29th ranked pass defense and the 24th ranked pass defense in the Texans and the Titans. We'll see if he can keep up that style of play against the Niners, who are, of course, number 1 in that category. Chiefs defense is number 8 in the pass defense category. They were the 7th scoring defense for the season in general, and they've gotten better in the postseason. This was a weakness for them last year, the defense. That has not been the case this year. How do you explain the turnaround?
Well, they got a new defensive coordinator in Steve Spagnuolo, and he brought in a new system, and everybody started to be really, really critical of this defense early on. But when you have a new system in place, you got a few new players coming in, it takes time to gel. So if you really want a good snapshot of what this defense is, start with week 12 of what they've done, okay? They've been number 1 in points. They've only given up 10.5 points in the regular season. They're number 4 against the rush, which everybody was talking about. They can't stop the run, only giving up 94 yards. And when you couple that with not giving up big plays and getting off the field on third down, this defense got pretty good. The one thing that bothers me about the defense, I look at the playoffs. A defensive guy, there's 3 things we want to do. Not give up big plays, not give up points, and get off the field on third down. In the playoffs, they're giving up 27.5 points. That's troublesome for me. They haven't got better against the run, but they haven't faced the run like we're about to see against the 49ers. So I will say they have improved, but giving up points is not something you want to do going into the biggest game.
A lot of talk about the Chiefs so far. We will have a report on the Niners and conversation about what they need to do in this game still to come. First, though, we do have a little bit more on the Chiefs. We're going to welcome in Ian Rappaport with an update on the future of their franchise player who could become, with a win on Sunday, the youngest player to win an MVP award and a Super Bowl. He's just 24 years old, Ian. He's still on his rookie contract. Are the Chiefs expected to change that anytime soon?
They are, in fact, expected to change that. And you mentioned how young he is. He's also going to be, at some point, probably pretty soon, the richest player in NFL history. That is what the deal is going to be like for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs when they do end up striking that long-term extension. From my understanding, this is likely to be done this offseason rather than next offseason. And it was a little bit eyebrow-raising to hear Clark Hunt, the Chiefs owner, talk about how, well, they could get it done this year, could get it done next year. He's right. They do have different options, but from what I understand, this is really priority number 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs. The opportunity is there after the CBA deal is reached to sit down with his agents, Lee Steinberg and Chris Cabot, hammer out this massive deal, make sure that he is very rich and that he does not go anywhere or play in any uniform besides the Chiefs one.
Speaking of contracts, what's going on with Greg Olsen and the Panthers?
The Carolina Panthers announced earlier today that they are mutually parting ways with Greg Olsen. In other words, they are going to release him after the Super Bowl. Teams are not allowed to do any such moves until the Super Bowl finishes. But this is no doubt an end of an era for the Carolina Panthers. This very respected tight end, Mr. Dependable on the field, off the field. This is one where the Carolina Panthers no doubt had to kind of tug at their heartstrings a little bit to move on from Greg Olsen. They do end up saving about $8 million against the cap, and from what I understand, the 34-year-old does in fact want to play in 2020 in the right situation. If it doesn't happen, he'll just move on to hang out with us in the TV world.
Thanks, Ian. Doing a great job this week of tracking everything going on down here. One of those things today was a Play 60 event attended by Roger Goodell, who helped announce a $1 million grant from NFL charities to build an NFL youth education town at Gwen Cherry Park here in Miami. He also gave away 2 Super Bowl tickets to a pair of brothers from the area who each led schools that won state championships this year in different classes in football, kind of like David and his brother Darren, only they were on different teams. You guys coached on the same team. Another person who scored a ticket today from Goodell, Air Force Colonel Edward Lee Hubbard, who is a Chiefs fan who was a prisoner of war in Vietnam the last time that the Chiefs played in the Super Bowl. He was in captivity for 6.5 years. He didn't know that the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl. He didn't know that they'd won it until 3 years after. This time he will not only know immediately, he will be at the game. Also today, we got to hear from the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show performers, one of which apparently will be celebrating a birthday on Sunday. Shakira, set to turn 43, performing with Jennifer Lopez and maybe others.
I think I don't want to give away too many of what we're going to do in the performance. I know you guys will have a lot of questions about that, but the truth is, I think when we finish the first run through, you know, Shakira looked at me, she was like, that was amazing. And I was like, no, you were amazing. And I think she was like, it's different what we do. And I said, well, it's very Shakira and it's very Jennifer. And I think that's what you're going to get from the performance.
We've been working so hard the past weeks to make sure that everything is as good as we can feel it, that it is. And so everybody can enjoy this Sunday, enjoy a great show. And we hope that it will be a great show.